Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, and my breath smells really bad, and I don't give a shit. I can barely talk to human beings anymore. You think I give a shit if my breath stinks? I don't talk to anybody. Now we're going to have a little interesting, introspective podcast episode here, and this one's pretty important. Here's what I'm going to delve into. This whole idea and insinuation, for a couple months there, distracting, tricking Satan, or what I thought was Satan, due to the 2 months of silence from Satan, or what I thought was Satan. And right in the middle of that 2 months, seeing heaven in the light. So I figured, you know what, it's got to be Satan after realizing that this is purgatory. I thought, you know what, that must be Satan. So for about 2 months, I, distracted myself and fake Satan. They're nothings. With the attempts that it would, for some reason, keep Satan away from other people in this world. But I've come to realize that even if it was Satan, the voices, it would be, Satan ain't telepathic in my belief system. And right at the end of that 2 months, I started thinking about the voices again. And they came back relatively quickly. So that tells me that it's actually not Satan. What is it? God, Jesus, disciples, Spirit, are you there? Holy cannoli. I never had a cannoli. I'd like to try one, but we have more important matters to attend to. And that would be the fact that, so basically, I don't know why I brought up the whole voices and Satan thing. That's mostly because back when I figured out this is purgatory, I basically, I'm drawing a blank. I'm also getting distracted by the fact that I haven't had food in a little bit and some water. What else? Oh, yeah. So we're going to be, that's why I brought it up. Because of Jesus. That's why I brought it up. Because, dude, what the hell? Dude, I don't even game anymore. It's fucking crazy. And I just forgot it again. See, this is, fake coma dream remnants. And I brought up that because, see, these are the type of things that are not okay. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a good old Christian lad. I like being Christian. Now, when you think about your history, and, well, if you think about my history, go listen to the rest of the episodes. So basically, I kind of came to the realization that when I'm not dying, I'm not like near death, I'm not in critical condition, I'm just sleeping in a jail cell. And I see heaven and the light, and I'm ascending into it. And all the senses feel so real. For real, for good, for real. That's how real heaven is. It felt like real life. So when that happens and I'm not anywhere near death at all, not even a little bit, what does that mean? I mean, back then, I thought that it had something to do with the fact that I thought I might be in a coma dream simulation, which that was a whole mind fuck for like 4 or 5 months, just raping my mind in terms of Should I kill myself to wake up? Should I not? Blah, blah, blah. And the simulation, or what I thought was that at the time, would just fuck with my head and my body. Like, all based on what I was thinking about. And I was just trying to get like a feel for what this world is and why this is happening. And if it was a dream or not. Well, it ain't. But when you are have that kind of belief system as coma dream simulation, I kind of thought the two had morphed into one. And I thought that for some reason there was a simulation keeping me trapped in a coma dream, which is so redundant and contradictory that it doesn't even make sense. And I'm fucking retard for not even thinking about this. But for some reason, I thought the simulation wanted to keep me trapped in this fake dream world, fake coma dream world. Because if I leave, then everybody in a fake coma dream technically disappears. But I came up with a couple ideas to, combat that if possible back then. So, technically the simulation would have actually been pushing for me to not stay in the fake dream world, but wake up. And all of this is hogwash and it's in the past now. But I bring this up because of the light. The main reason I didn't go into the light was because I thought this might be a coma dream. I was trying to figure it out. And I didn't think about this consciously, super in depth at all. It may not have even crossed my mind. But I thought, I thought about this just now. I maybe thought about this once, twice at the most, briefly in the past since then. But I basically I came to the realization that, well, if I'm ascending into the light and what is a coma dream, would God technically consider that suicide and I would be going to hell? And if I'm in a coma dream, when I'm seeing the light, does that mean that I'm dying in the coma and I'm going into heaven or hell? Tough things to dispute and think about, if you know what I mean. So that kind of tripped me up for a while. But the reason I bring that up is because I also did not think that God, Jesus, the Spirit, the disciples from the Bible, I did not think that they would make somebody in purgatory think that they're actually in a coma dream. I didn't think that they would do that to anybody. That's why I ruled out purgatory for so long, was because literally I was like, then most people eventually would kill themselves and be damned to hell? Or that's what I thought back then, because I didn't quite know God and Jesus as well as I do now. But I was like, yeah, you'd probably go to hell because you're killing yourself. But I didn't think, man, you're killing yourself by not killing yourself to wake up from a coma. If you stay in a coma dream, which nobody would ever know that they're in a coma dream because they're not real. So that argument is a moot point. Basically, like if that were even true, you would be technically, you would have to know though for a fact that it actually is a coma dream. They're not real. I'm here to tell you that right now. So that's just the way it is. God isn't going to do anything to any of you. I'm kidding. I mean, no, I'm not, but basically, there's been, back when I was hearing the voices and I thought they were Satan, I'm going a little bit back and forth, but this is all leading to something very important. I basically had I had an idea a while ago, back right around the time I did the purgatoring episode, but a little bit before that, maybe, I had the idea of like purgatory being from when you do research online, and it may not all be true. It may not all be true, the stuff about purgatory online. Let's see if it's in any other. It's because I did some research a while ago, and I had read that other religions actually do have like their form of or version of purgatory, which is not heaven or hell, but a middle ground that most people fit into that middle ground in terms of not being all good or all bad, or even mostly good or mostly bad. So most people, when they die, they go to purgatory. And I don't believe it's just a Catholic thing, Catholic Christian. I believe it's actually pretty much, from my research in the past, it basically was, and that's the thing, research online, whatever. But basically, I read that most of the major religions have their own form or version of purgatory. You know what I mean? Like, and they barely briefly mention it. None of them teach it as an actual place, not even really Catholics. The Pope said it doesn't exist. I wonder why he did that. So now we're on Islam.org. Islam.org. It is learnt from a large number of verses of Quran and traditions that death is not the end of the life of man. On the contrary, after death he is transferred to another world called Barzakh, and he continues his life there. The world of Barzakh is between the perceptive world of this life and the world of the hereafter and complete gathering. The world of Barzakh begins from the grave and it continues to the complete gathering and the establishment of Judgment Day. But it is not transmigration in which the soul of man enters the body of another man or animal. And after his death, he enters another body, and in this way he continues his life so that he may be cleaned of filths and become fully eligible for the gathering of Judgment Day. Belief in transmigration of souls is absurd and incompatible with principles of Islam. In the beginning, we would present some verses of the Quran, blah, 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 blah. The Holy Quran says, until when death overtakes one of them, he says, send me back, my Lord, send me back. Happily I may do good in that which I have left. By no means. It is a mere word that he speaks, and before them is a barrier until the day they are raised. Yada yada. And reckon not those who are killed in Allah's way as dead. Nay, they are alive and are provided sustenance from the Lord, rejoicing in what Allah has given them out of his grace, and they rejoice for the sake of those who, being left behind them, have not yet joined them, that they shall have no fear, nor shall they grieve. And then he goes on to explain, God, this is a long, I don't want to do this one. Article. It is Islam.org, so it's the official religion website. So, in these years, it is clearly mentioned that the martyrs are alive after death, and it cannot be interpreted as immortality of their name and cause. Although life after death is different from the life of the world. If we accept life after death for the martyrs, we would have to accept life for all the other people as well. The difference of martyrs to other people is that the martyrs are sustained by their Lord in that elevated stage. They receive sustenance from the Almighty Allah Akbar. It's just gonna drone. Reminds me of like all the time I tried to fix all these fucking electronics. Just talks about fucking shit that I did not even research, like type in. And then at the very bottom, or somewhere in the middle, there's something in there. The answer. No, thank you. Dude, come on. What? Oh, a cloak full of rice in the Valley of Peace. Now we're talking. Animals hear the voice of dead. All right, I'm done with this website. Yeah, I might just cut out that whole. I don't even know. I mean, my goodness. Oh, Judaism. Judaism. Yeah, I'm not doing. Yeah. I was gonna do a bunch of religion episodes later, and I might do that, but I'm here to basically prove that this is purgatory and or your first life, and while simultaneously disproving simulation theory. I know, right? Hayden, you've already done that. Yeah, well, I've come to some discoveries since then. And basically, I've end both of the two simulation theory disproval episodes. I ended the second one with, technically, God can, through God, all things are possible. So, I guess he could make it a simulation if he wanted to. But the only reason I really believed that is because I still believed that previous, this is my purgatory world, based off of that idea I had months ago. And I basically said, to hell with everybody else, they can all fuck off. I did this as an act in my own mind for almost 2 months, or I don't even know how long at this point. The days become so fading together, and like I feel like we skipped like 2 weeks this year. And basically, when I don't know why I thought it was just my purgatory world. I forced myself to believe that. I literally did. Without even breaking character in my own mind. That's how insane I've become. All to help people in the world. I mean, come on, man. You know what I mean? Who does something like that? A good Christian lad, that's who. I'm sure Jesus would have done the same thing. If he thought Satan was attached to his soul and spirit out in the world and he knew he wasn't going to kill himself because God told him not to, it would be worth it. And if Jesus thought for a little bit you know what, maybe this entity that doesn't stop talking, uh, maybe that's Satan or evil, because the 2 months of silence from that, I saw heaven and you, Father God. I saw you again. So I'm sure Jesus would at least try to, like, in his own mind, be like, you know what? I am going to literally act in my own head, in my mind. Like, I would literally just respond to the voices, trying to, like, fucking keep them preoccupied with what the fuck I was doing and not think about that. It's how crazy, a fake coma dream will make you, but it'll make you nice and faithful for the Lord. I'm sure Jesus would have done that. I don't know why he wouldn't. If you can mentally withstand all this psychological, mental angst and, like, I was gonna say torture, but it's more like psychological mind rape. Um, if you can handle it and you think that it's because of some evil Satan devil attached to you, and you think that it's going around the world trying to get people to sell their souls or whatever, kill themselves or other people, unfortunately, which is nothing I would ever do, ever. But I can see why some people would have done that. But with God and Jesus and the Spirit, they probably wouldn't have, because they would have listened to Jesus. So I'm sure Jesus would have acted in his own head like I did. Because if you can mentally keeping on, and you think that maybe like one of the only ways that you can be beneficial to anybody in this world is holding on to that. That's not denying or pushing away from faith or God or Jesus. No, that's just trying to make the best of the situation that you think or that you believe you're in mentally. And, obviously you're going to come to discoveries later on, and you're going to think of things that may be solutions to or answers to the fact that it may not be Satan, etc. Because I know it's not Satan. So basically, why did I bring that up? I'm gonna listen again for the thing. I brought it up because basically I was just trying to get Satan to believe that this was actually my purgatory, and there was no possible way that Satan could ever even leave my body and latch on other people and get them to do whatever have you. That's why I did that for about 2 months. So I kept telling myself that it was my purgatory world, blah, 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 blah. And I had a really good idea, which is really pretty smart. It kind of is contrary to all of the research online. Purgatory seems to be let's just double check. Anyway, so basically, I thought it was a good idea. The purgatory. I kind of already talked about it on episode 16. No purgatory here on plato.stanford.edu. Well, there fucking better be. No purgatory, which is a coincidence, I'm sure. Britannica! Yeah, we're done with Britannica for today. Purgatory in world religions. The idea of purification or temporary punishment after death has ancient roots and is well attested in early Christian literature. The conception of purgatory as a geographically situated place is largely the achievement of medieval Christian piety and imagination. Beliefs and practices relating to purgatory profoundly affected Western society in the Middle Ages and beyond, as the focus of a complex system of suffrages, intercessory prayers, masses, alms, and fasting on behalf of the dead, penitential practices, and indulgences. Purgatory strengthened the bond between the living and the dead, provided motivation for works of social philanthropy as well as for pilgrimages and crusades, and furnished abundant matter for visionary and imaginative literature. In general, the origins of purgatory may be sought in the worldwide practice of praying for the dead and caring for their needs. Such ministrations presuppose that the dead are in a temporal state between early life and their final abode, and that they can benefit from the generosity or transferred merit of the living. Purgatory answers the human need to believe in a just and merciful cosmos, one in which ordinary people, neither hardened sinners nor perfect saints, may undergo correction, balance life's accounts, satisfy old debts, cleanse accumulated defilements, and heal troubled memories. Oh yeah, heal troubled memories. Since these are universal concerns, there are parallels to the Christian conception of purgatory in many religious and cultural traditions. According to classical Buddhism, for example, rebirth in any of the 6 realms, whether as a god, human, demigod, animal, hungry ghost, or hell being. Jesus, man. That's interesting. An animal or a hungry ghost is a temporary state conditioned by the character of the intentional actions performed in a person's past lives. Karma. Donations to a monastic community, altruistic practice of spiritual disciplines, and good deeds are ways of generating merit that may be dedicated to relieving the purgatorial suffering of beings imprisoned in sorrowful rebirths or in transit between lives. In medieval Chinese Buddhism, the classical Buddhist understanding of rebirth and transfer of merit merged with traditional practices and beliefs concerning the veneration of ancestors and the placation of potentially troublesome ghosts. The Chinese Buddhist afterworld is perceived as an imperial bureaucracy in which the deceased is subjected to a series of trials whose outcome depends largely upon the offerings made by family members. The monastic community as a field of merit for lay donors serves an intermediary function. The popularity of the annual Ghost Festival. Ooh, the annual Ghost Festival. Like festival foods. I like that grocery store. I've only seen one of them before in Andover. Rite in which offerings are made to ancestral ghosts, as well as the persistence of other seasonal, domestic, and esoteric rites for the care and feeding of the dead. You gotta feed them dead, bitches. Demonstrates that responsibility for beings in purgatory is an ending preoccupation of Chinese society, as it is in other East Asian cultures. So it turns out they're, they got their, they know. Development of the tradition. All right, come on. I'm just trying to see. Now, what's the difference between purgatory and limbo? Limbo in Roman Catholic theology, the border place between heaven and hell, where dwell those souls who, though not condemned to punishment, are deprived of the joy of eternal existence with God in heaven. Why? The word is of Teutonic origin, meaning border or anything joined on. The concept of limbo probably developed in Europe in the Middle Ages, but was never defined as a church dogma. And reference to it was omitted from the official catechism of the church that was issued in 1992. Two distinct kinds of limbo have been supposed to exist: the limbus patrum, Latin father's limbo, which is the place where the Old Testament saints were thought to be confined until they were liberated by Christ in his descent into hell, and two, the limbus infantum, or limbus puerorum, children's limbo, child play limbo, which is the abode of those who have died without actual sin, but whose original sin has not been washed away by baptism. Traditionally, this children's limbo included not only dead unbaptized infants, but also the mentally impaired. Interesting. The question of the destiny of infants, so the entire world, mentally impaired. The question of destiny of infants dying unbaptized presented itself to Christian theologians as a relatively early period. Generally speaking, it may be said that the Greek fathers of the church inclined to a cheerful view, and the Latin fathers to a gloomy view. Indeed, some of the Greek fathers expressed opinions that are most indistinguishable from the Pelagian view that children dying unbaptized might be admitted to eternal life, though not to the kingdom of God. I imagine that if a child that is unbaptized dies, I would imagine God would probably give him a second chance in the berg. Why are they going to go to the kingdom of God? Admitted to eternal life, though not to the kingdom of God. Okay. Well, it's just a kid who wants to be like a little baby in heaven. No, for real, like you're not even, you can barely even see. You don't even know what like seeing more than 15 feet away from your eyes is. So I don't think that's the best kind of judgment to the best kind of person to distinguish if they are worthy of the Lord or damned to hell. Unless I mean, if they're unbaptized, that's not really even their fault. That would be the parents, no? So maybe damn them to hell for not baptizing their child, like, while it's still in the womb. Because you never know with miscarriages and abortions. No good. Don't do that. You know? I don't know. I don't see why, like, if you die as a baby and you go into heaven or hell or purgatory, are you? This is why the whole restarting your second chance life or whatever thing is a great idea in my opinion. I came up with it. You know, because I read online a little bit ago, like a couple weeks ago, that it is not a second chance. Like the article made it very clear that that's not what it is. I wonder if that's actually what it is. Now, if I didn't share the information that I as an opinion that I believe to be true, and my my beliefs or whatever, I don't even know why this came up. I don't think about this. I don't ever worry about things like this. I probably never would have if it wasn't an inserted or brought up thing. And that would be the fact that soul selling is a thing with the Illuminati and all that. I think that's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. I actually think it's the opposite. It's God trying to get you to sell your soul, not Satan. Satan doesn't have more power than God and Jesus, you fucking idiots. And telepathy with God and Jesus is real. So, all the entertainment industry that I've talked about being about my life, inserted with those thoughts about my future before it even happens, which is a form of copyright infringement. And the fact that this is, everybody gets a chance at heaven, But after they quote unquote sell their soul to quote unquote Satan and the Illuminati, Illuminati, the light, Satan, I already know this, Satan cannot see that far into the future, if at all. And Satan's not telepathic. I don't believe he is. So if Satan can't see that far into the future and isn't telepathic, the telepathic communication with God and Jesus and the Spirit and the disciples, that's what some of it is, folks. That isn't, maybe some people don't even, who sell their soul, don't even know this, that the thoughts coming in are not always theirs. Was it this way before the fake coma dream? Yeah. But, basically, if that were Satan, after you sell your soul and Satan is communicating telepathically, Satan can't see that far into the future. So Satan wouldn't have been able to communicate telepathically about my future before I've even lived it. And so basically I'm kind of, I believe that it's actually God and Jesus that's trying to get you to sell your soul, not Satan, due to evidence that I've gathered. Now, is that a bad thing or a good thing? In terms of I don't even think about the soul selling thing. I'm just, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do it. I never wanted to. I did pretend that I wanted to for a while to distract fake Satan. And maybe possibly help some other people in the world not, commit suicide or some crazy shit. But is that a good or a bad thing? Let's think. the reason that God and Jesus, and I just call them the Trinity, would do this, one, they have more power than whatever fucking fake Satan is in this world. Maybe, maybe Satan, whatever. But I don't even, does anybody really know this or talk about this? I feel like if the Illuminati, if that was the secret that the Illuminati is keeping, it's actually not Satan that they're selling their soul to, but the Holy Trinity of Christianity. Wouldn't that be talked about more by the people who are in the Illuminati who do sell their soul? I mean, one husband is drunk one night, he tells his fucking spouse, and then the wife has got loose lips already to begin with, and she's out, bowling and drinking at a fucking, they're bowling at their house, their mansion. And they're all drinking, and she tells all the ladies about it, how it's actually God and the Trinity, not Satan. The word spreads like wildfire. Plus, if it was God and the Trinity, it wouldn't really need to be a secret. Unless, and I say it wouldn't really need to be a secret because what's so bad about like helping thy neighbor and all that mumbo jumbo? What's so bad about not murdering and not like drinking baby blood? What's so bad about just being a good person, no matter what religion you're, or even if you're not religious, you're just spiritual or whatever? What's so bad about actually, obviously, if you look at the news lately, you can see that in droves. But if that were the case, which I know it is, folks. Technically, if I don't share this information, then I'm what? Hiding the truth and the secret. So I'm not selling my soul, even though I never really ever even thought about that kind of shit until it was brought up. So if that was actually the secret in the Illuminati, that you're not selling your soul to Satan and the devil doesn't run the world, but obviously God and Jesus and the Trinity do, with the disciples' help sometimes. Because they obviously have more power than Satan. They literally made Satan become the ruler of hell or whatever. And I mean, it's like, why would they all keep that kind of secret? I don't think they would. That's the thing. People would be talking about it. People would be like, wait, what? Like, wives would be like, wait, are you joking? And they would be like, so why is everybody fucking being all secretive? So, also, I think the Trinity and Christianity would possibly be doing this to people like myself to, one, have trust and faith in the Lord and Jesus Christ and God, because part of me thinks, because they kind of told me, that God and Jesus basically, what was I just talking about? That'll happen sometimes. God and Jesus told me that basically the whole soul selling thing might, I may have picked up wrong telepathically, but I kind of got the vibe, hoping Or maybe it was one of the disciples. If so, my bad, gentlemen. But that the whole soul selling thing is kind of a hogwash. It's nonsense. It's not really like a thing. At least, I mean, I just don't want to sell it because I might be wrong. I have faith and trust in God and Jesus and the Trin. That's the thing. Like, the light is the only way. It's just so. It felt like real life. All this, you know what I mean? All of it. It's like the only. So that, warm meditation, levitation, simulation feeling, which is what it felt like. I talk about it on a couple of episodes at the beginning of the pod. It didn't feel real. Felt really simulated and fake and weird. But I've been through fucking, you know what I mean? I just, that's the only thing is the light. And if I'm being made to feel like choosing the light in eternal heaven is a bad thing. Why is that? Why am I being made to be like, no, Hayden, you need to trust that feeling you get and the warm, levitating feeling, like I did back a few times back then. Well, why would you make the light look and feel and smell and sound so fucking real if you didn't want people to choose the light? You know what I mean? It's kind of a counterproductive, like, it's kind of contradictory a little bit. I wouldn't feel so strongly about my opinions towards the light and heaven if those senses were not gradually more intensified and all that shit. I talk about it at the beginning of the pod a bunch of times, like probably a dozen times at least. But let's think. It could be there's multiple reasons why Trinity would do this. Well, to get people to trust and have faith more, or to see how certain people react and go about the rest of their life here in purgatory, knowing that they probably and possibly sold their soul and are possibly going to hell. So there's two ways that there's more than two, but there's like two main ways that any human being could go about after the fact that this has been done. Kind of three. If they don't really believe in God or Jesus or really any faith at all for their entire life, they're probably not going to really give a shit about being a good person unless they're a good person. It's going to have nothing to do with the soul selling thing and possibly being damned to hell. But if they are religious, or if they were religious before the soul selling, I find it hard to believe that they would even sell the soul. I wouldn't, just because I don't want to. I don't really feel like it. Not for sale. But I did buy a couple of lottery tickets the other night. So I think I can get lucky there. I'm hoping so. I didn't really get skitzed out for this one, like I did last year. But so, the mindset afterwards, some people may be worried about possibly going to hell after selling their soul, so they might try to make up for it and be a better person for the rest of their life. Or they might be like, oh, well, I sold my soul and I'm going to hell, so fuck everybody and become a piece of shit. So, and I bet people are thinking, what the fuck is it? God. Yeah, dipshits. What do you think? Satan has more power than fucking God? The fuck is wrong with you? Get your head out of your ass. Now! Just get your head out of your ass. And, yeah, I feel like withholding this information, I mean, sometimes I forget some of it. That didn't really happen before a year ago. But a lot of the things I would either forget or compartmentalize so organized and deep in the fucking depths of my memory and brain that I just like, it's like, it's pretty much like an Inception. You have to go like 4 dreams deep to get inside the dude's vault. But that's, my understanding of what this is. And I talk to God and Jesus, not that much anymore. Because I think they realized that I'm not going to kill myself. And I'm not going to go to hell. I'm not selling my soul. I don't want to sell it. What's the problem with that? It's not about trust. I just don't want to sell it. Why am I being made to feel like choosing the light is a bad thing? I don't understand. No, I'm actually really confused about that part of it. So, I also have another theory here. Since there is, a constant either telepathic or chit chatter from nonsense about how, oh, Hayden, don't worry about what's happening to the people in your life that you care about. It's your purgatory, and they have their own purgatory world that they're living right now or will be living after this one. Or the telepathic hint is like, this is just your purgatory world, and nobody else is really even a human or whatever. That's the kind of telepathic vibe I get. Well, if that were true, then why? Yep, here comes the erasing. Really not cool. The truth has set me free. I'm serious. But that constant telepathic vibe has been, message has been sent to me like, no, don't worry about them. The brainwashing or whatever, which I am now concluded has been, I'm praying and hoping to God, that part has been hallucinations. Well, Hayden, sounds like you're in hell. Satan would be doing this to you, right? No, it's not hell, it's purgatory. The light, dummy. And inserted, hallucinations to pay for my sins from God and Jesus are way more powerful than anything Satan has to offer. And if you think otherwise, you need to pray. But I had this idea, basically, since I know I lived a previous life with 2 of my family members. If, obviously there's two worlds, right? So if you live your first life in one world, you can't really live your purgatory second life in the same world, because you might be able to retrace your steps or do some digging and find your ancestral history, and or like social media now with the internet and shit. So you would just, you do your purgatory life in the second world. That's has nothing to do with the world where you had your first life and lived it and had a good time. But so this is a kind of a crazy idea, but this literally disproves that this is only my purgatory, which has been a constant, theme pushed into my head or whatever. I'm not hating or shit talking on God, all right? I'm just trying to get the truth out there the best way I know how, I guess. Which is still really not, nobody's going to listen to the podcast. But basically, it's been not insinuated, but basically mutually understood or telepathically given off the vibe to me that it's just my purgatory. Da 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 da. So that means nobody in this world or in my life. If that were true, that would mean that every single human being that's lived and died would have what? Their own purgatory world that's only theirs, and nobody else in the world that they're living their purgatory world and life in is able to leave or see heaven or go to hell or have a second chance in purgatory. So that would mean that everyone in my family and all my friends, if they were in heaven, mostly my family, because that would theoretically mean that every single family member and every single person that has lived and died, 100 billion people, would have their own purgatory life or world. Let's just do a hypothetical theoretical here. So that means everybody that's living in the world that they're living their purgatory life in, if those people, which I would imagine they are, like say my family. Hypothetically speaking, if this was just my purgatory and nobody in this world was able to, go to heaven or hell or purgatory or whatever, that would technically mean that all my family that I know, like who I know them as people, character-wise, personality-wise, what they've gone through, what we've experienced, what we've had as life experiences, memories, all that kind of shit. All of that would be pretty much kind of useless and not really, it wouldn't have happened to that same family member or whoever up in heaven, because they have their own purgatory world where they possibly lived an entirely different life with like a different family or whatever, or the same family, but different life events happened. So they see me as a different person with a different personality, different memories, etc. Doesn't make sense. So basically, if every single person in my family, like I know, let's say the two family members I had a previous life with, this is obviously their purgatory too. It's what it is. I'm not going to be forced into thinking this is fucking hell. Because it ain't. That whole insinuated belief or inserted belief telepathically about how it's my purgatory, that would mean when I, am up in heaven in the light, That would mean that every one of my family. No, 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 no. No, no. This is the truth. This is my story, my opinion. I'm allowed to speak it. This is America. There's nothing sinful about what I'm doing. Not a sin during this entire podcast, I don't think. I haven't sinned in days. Well, I did watch porn last night. But that would mean that if they would be different people than the people that I know them as and remember them as and have experienced life with them than the people theoretically in eternal heaven. So that disproves that entire theory right there. And the only reason, obviously, the light is real. I wasn't dying that night in jail. I was seeing the light. All of it, the senses, everything is so intense and vivid. Da, 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 da. So the only way that simulation theory could be true is what? I talk about it on I Love You and I Love You Too, but essentially, if this was a simulation and all of those senses being so fucking real and intense, like real life, and this doesn't really feel like it, even though it does, but that's just how intense it is. You can't really simulate that kind of shit. So, if this was a simulation, the light on the other side of the light is not a simulation. Let me just tell you that right now. It's just not, at least in my personal experience. So, what kind of company or organization in any kind of alternate, I'm not even going to get into alternate universes or, you know what I mean, and timelines and that kind of shit, or alien races. I'm not even going to do any of that. But what kind of organization or company or whatever would be running a simulation like that? Where most people who die see the light, which is on the other side is heaven. It's real on the other side, like for real, real. And there's been a few people that I've talked to that said they've flatlined and it was just black nothingness, empty black pit of nothing. And I said to them, well, what if God knew that you were going to exist or survive you flatlining and also knew that you were going to be talking to Hayden in the future about the light and afterlife and etc. And to kind of, throw Hayden's head for a spin, let's just make this motherfucker not see shit. He's going to be fine. He'll see the light when he sees it, He'll see the light at this point in time, later in his life or whatever. Everybody's got their own fucking thing, their path or whatever. But I was like, so what if God knew that you were going to survive and he just made you see black because for whatever reason? Makes a lot of sense, right? So there really would be no way for any organization, company, alternate universe, where technology is more advanced, etc., that would be the creator of this simulation world, if it is a simulation, because of the light, because of religion, always mentioning the light when you're dying. The only way it could possibly be is with God and the Trinity and possibly the other gods too. Why would they not watch over their religions and all that kind of shit? I don't see what the problem is with that. It's a weird thing. I don't know why it's instilled in me. It's fucking weird. Anyways, so yes, I technically didn't quite disprove it, but the only the only need for a bunch of simulated purgatory worlds is if everybody had their own purgatory world. But that is not possible. It's not, because everybody would be a different version of themselves up in heaven or hell when they ascend or whatever. So basically, there would be billions of simulated purgatory worlds where when you get to heaven, the people who you're in heaven with are not the same. They're the same people, family members. Like, they look the same, but they've been through a completely different life experience than what you know, and vice versa. So they're kind of a different person. So that's why there's two worlds, not billions of simulated ones. That'd be the only the only need for God and Jesus and the Trinity to simulate any kind of purgatory or regular world. The only reason would be if there's too many of them for them to focus on. Like if everybody had their own purgatory life and world, there'd be too many. They'd be like, all right, just fucking turn the sim on for all these fuckers. There's too many. There's too many people. Like, yeah, they'd be focused on. I mean, yeah. Plus, they wouldn't be the same person that you know them as in this life, in this world, when you get up there. So there's no reason at all, really, to have, as God, I'd imagine there's really no reason for him to make any simulated purgatory worlds at all. Because there's two of them. First life and then the second life. Oh, but Hayden, that's not what purgatory is. I've done research and yeah. I wonder why all the research online doesn't mention a second chance life. Because if you know it's purgatory, and you know that it's a completely brand new second life, where you're like given the chance to, be yourself, but also be a good person and prove to your, like, if you want to be, unless you want to be a fucking piece of shit, then go ahead. Yeah, my bad. I don't know if children are going to listen to this. If they do, I can edit a clean version or whatever. I mean, what am I talking about? I mean, I say this because I've been seeing like Clean Up the Podcast a couple of times. I think one of the disciples told me that. And I was like, huh. I was like, why? In the back of my mind, I'm like, why did he say that? Nobody's going to listen to my shit podcast. But, the constantly like inserted, or not inserted, but like telepathically communicated, like, this is your purgatory, so don't worry about any of these schmucks. Don't worry about your family or whatever. They're living their own purgatory life. But then they would be a completely different person than I know them as here in this life. If they're fucking, Yeah, I can clean out the potty. I can do that. I mean, I gotta do. AI Hayden, get on that. Anyways, so I kind of, because no other company or organization is running a simulation. Why would they even do that? to disprove simulation theory. I kind of did just now. This is like, because it's through God and Jesus would be the only way a simulation would be feasible as a part of reality for everybody here. But if there's only two worlds, I think God and Jesus can, handle that, everyone. You know what I mean? Unless they're, I think that they should take a vacation, personally. They work too much. Two worlds is actually kind of a lot now that I think about it. It's kind of a lot of work. I would have taken a vacation a long time ago. Just go check out Vietnam. But you know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? All the people, so many of them. Because of the light and the senses being so real, that's how I know, I believe, and I know for a fact, that the only possible way that this world could and would be a simulation would be through God and Jesus, the Trinity. And there's really no reason for them to do that at this point. Or maybe there is. Maybe they are on vacation. Don't bug them. But if there's just two worlds and the whole purgatory, my purgatory thing, which I was, distract Satan, they'd have to be real lazy to not be able to handle like a couple of two worlds. Or maybe they just can't get out of bed. Maybe they just like sleeping too much. The only way that this world would and could be a coma dream would probably be as if it was Jesus's coma dream, right? A regular human being isn't going to construct this kind of dream world. Trust me. So I'm actually really shocked that a drug didn't show up in this room during that 100 days. I'm shocked now that I think about it that way. I'm like, really? Really, Father? Jesus H. Christ, my Father? Not even anything? You don't want to wake up, dude? You're that lazy? Come on, man. We're going to have to time the kick at the right time. Because imagine, yeah, whatever. It's not a dream. At least, not one that any heavy sleeper is going to want to wake up from anytime soon. What was I just going to say about... yeah, it's right there. It's like, just keep talking a little bit more, then we'll give you that one. So yeah, that's the best I can do at disproving simulation theory as of right now, as well as telling you that this is purgatory. Maybe it's your first life and you'll be going to the purgatory after this life. So yeah. Oh, and the whole selling the soul thing is, yeah, probably not even real or a thing. I don't even know why it's a thing to begin with. maybe I think it's because God and Jesus are like, we want people to either trust in faith and or see what kind of person they choose to be afterwards. Because I think you can still get to heaven if you sell your soul. But that's just my take personally. I could be wrong. I could be wrong about all this shit, but I also, I'm in the contact with extraterrestrial life forms. Yeah. I mean, I did have an idea, like maybe Health Partners and Mercy Hospital teamed up. Health Partners and Mercy Hospital, they teamed up to make a coma dream simulation that volunteers can get compensated to upload their consciousness into a simulated coma dream. To see what it's like for somebody in a real coma dream and how they could possibly like wake themselves up or figure out that it's a dream. And as soon as you wake up, they're trying to sell you insurance, trying to get you to shoot up more fucking ketamine. You just instantly wake up and they're like, "So, how was that?" I'm like, not great. Yeah, so I don't really. They're like, "So, what insurance plan would you like to have to start off?" And I'm like, "Don't you want to know how, like, how if I was able to figure out if it was a dream or not? If I had to kill myself?" And they're like, "No, no, no, not important." What's your family size? How many children do you have? Are you a smoker? I was smoking in the dream. That could be possible. But that would mean that every single human being that's ever seen the light ever is what? In a Johns Hopkins simulated coma dream? Regions Hospital? Mayo Clinic? Not really likely, is it? It's not likely at all, actually. So the only possible way that it's a sim is if God and Jesus missed their flight back from Nam, and they forgot to turn the sim off, or they haven't gotten back in time yet, and it's still on. That's literally the only way. You know what I mean? I'm not even like doing a joke or a bit right now. That's the only possible way the sim. And what would be the point of that? Vacation. God dang it. Of course. I wonder if they can pick like a time period. Like 1965. In Nam. Man, oh man, oh man. So yeah, there you have it. I don't know what more else you want from me at this point. I don't know why I'm, still like scraping for pennies. I had to go cut down this fucking tree. Again, I mean, I've been stalling because I like staring at the carpet. I like thinking about what it's like to be a tree or a cloud or an animal like a raccoon. Not like a shitty bug. Dude, I had this hornet in my fucking room this morning, and it got stuck in my room like last week because I had took the screen off of my window, and it flew into the room. And I hate hornets. I can't. My anxiety spikes. I just hate them, and I'm always worried about getting stung and then just having the rest of them come and swarm me because they give off pheromones when they sting. But I thought me, God, and Jesus and the Holy Spirit had like tag teamed that fucker and made it not disappear, because I don't want to make it disappear, but made it go outside with the window closed, because I hadn't seen it in a week. I just saw it this morning. Dude, I almost have like a mini panic attack when I see those things. And I grabbed a towel and I slowly creeped up to it. It took me a few minutes to get close to it. And I smushed the towel on the hornet against the wall. And I pushed hard together because I didn't want it to fucking sting me. I pushed it together, like smushed it, like you do when you step on a June bug. And I pulled my hands apart, like away from each other. And the hornet was still alive. It tried to fly back at me, and I covered it up again, and I smushed it again real hard. I was like, what? How is that even possible? What is this, a mongoose? And then I got to the door outside, and I got outside, and I opened my hands again, and the fucking thing was still alive. After I smushed it twice, it was still alive. It started like walking and crawling. It didn't even look like I injured it. I was pretty mind blown, to say the least. And I remember thinking last week, I just now thought of it back. I thought back to that moment where I was trying to turn the fan on high and just blow the fucking hornet out of my room without having to kill it, because I didn't want to kill it if I didn't have to. And that's how you know. That's how you know, folks. I'm not joking about this whole God and Jesus thing. I promise you that. If you smush a hornet, which maybe they have that new like titanium mongoose protective shielding on their whatever kind of thing body that is. Mongoose are like, I think they have thicker skin than bears. So, oh man. Opossums are disgusting. I think they're so ugly. But, live and let live. But that's why the wasp didn't get killed when I smushed it twice. Because God remembered. I was like, man, I don't want to kill that thing if I don't have to. Which, I mean, if you're going to kill any animal, it's probably, the hornet's probably top 5. Mosquito, hornet. What else? What are the other 3 that, not like, I'm not doing like big game hunting. Unless it's the monsoon season. Not big game hunting. I'm talking like one you could kill like with ease that you know would harm other people or yourself. Obviously, like a poisonous snake, poisonous spider. I say just yeah. Without spiders, humans wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be able to survive. You know how many bugs there would be in the world? We actually if spiders never existed in all of history, there would have been too many bugs at one point, and they would have overcome the human beings. They would have eaten them alive. It's a fact. Just like the Trinity. And no, I'm not talking about that dyke chick from The Matrix. Which, whatever. So, another disproval. The only way it's not disproven is if, for some reason, I don't know why. All jokes aside, I don't know why God, Jesus, or any, would just let a simulation, unless they're really that lazy or overworked, and I don't blame them at that point. I don't blame them at that point. Hello, Dolores. I noticed some of my bits on some of my stories and bits and all that kind of shit. All that kind of shit. I think we're in robot land. What the hell? I just heard like a robot. Or what sounded like a robot. Maybe it wasn't. It sounded like, I don't even know. I don't even know what that is. What is that? Hello? 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 I gotta bring a bunch of firewood to my grandpa. I need to do it. I just need to. I'm the son of Jesus H. Christ. So if anybody tries to say this guy's a fucking idiot. What is he, a druggie? What is he talking about? Hallucinations? He's just a paranoid, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not. Jesus H. Christ is my dad. All right? I'm the son of Christ. And we don't really, to be quite frank, we don't really take too kindly to the negative Nancys out there in the world. You hear me? So was it God or Jesus or was it me that saved the hornet? This is where things get interesting. Not for any of you, obviously. What do you think? Your life's going to get better? my life ain't getting better either. So join the club. Cheers, whatever.